growing plants and things like that. But they'll be server specific, and they all move towards our aim, which is to have large numbers of players able to be on the servers. Obviously we'll need new maps for that, big maps, and seamless maps where you can run to the edge and maybe go into either a new server or a new map or that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done with that, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, we're really happy with how the progress has been on it. Like you say, there's a lot of nitpicky stuff that we've been tidying up some of it, but we just need to tidy up more and more of it. The sounds is probably a big one.
Right. So, I mean, this is like a down-the-line question, of course. Can people expect to see, and you could just kind of mention other maps, but people can expect to see other maps then in the future besides Charnaris?
Yeah, and definitely, like, modding is 100% confirmed, but not initially on release. Because we're worried about what... the performance and the security of things, and trying to just make sure everything gets put together and works properly.
Right. Yeah, I would take my time on that too, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Once modding is enabled, things get a little cray-cray, right?
Yeah, like, I just think we have to make sure things work so that we don't get conflicts and then things breaking, and then people don't know whether it's the game that's breaking or it's the mod that's breaking. Probably about 70% of my time with the standalone has been spent removing scripts. So I take something, pull it out, talk with the programmers, and we actually make it work in the engine. And it's so much more efficient. An example is loot spawning. When we first started, loot spawning was happening via script like it does in the mod. We spawn at the moment, in this world, there's 15,000 loot items. And those are spawned in by the engine, and it's able to spawn them in 40 seconds. With the mod, and with the initial standalone that was script-based, it wasn't even physically possible to do that. At 5,000 objects, it ran out of memory and crashed. But even at 5,000 objects, it would take 10 minutes for those objects to be spawned in.
Wow.
So that's an example. A lot of the time spent doing that. Some of the inventory system stuff is still script-based, and that's why it tends to break. So some of this stuff. So just when I kind of get free time, in inverted commas, I go through and I pull functions into the engine, and then they work much, much, much faster.
Very nice. Wow, that chat spam.
Yeah.
Bunch of crying children. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I love you guys.
I don't know how we lock it for subscriber only. Someone did that when I was in stream the other day, answering questions.
You can put it in slow mode actually. If there's a mod, I'm actually not a mod in the channel. I do it myself.
Twitch I have no idea how to do this stuff. I've been trying to learn. Like, I think streaming, content creation, stuff like that. I think it is important. I know people get really upset about it, or not upset, but maybe emotive about it. But I think.
Oh, thanks, Shannon.
I think it's...
Shannon, thank you.
Oh, Shannon!
Shannon, heart, Shannon.
Shannon can ask questions as well if she wants. We might be getting tired of asking questions. And Quo's not asking questions. The little chimney sweep boy.
Little Tashy. The little Tashy that could.
And I did.
Asheria.
I really like the gloves. Like, having stuff like gloves and that, I think is really cool.
Oh yeah, it looks awesome too. It really does look really cool. Why is the... Okay. Oh man, I gotta refresh my chat. It crashed again.
Every time someone spams give SA, a little orphan boy is shot.
That is a lot of dead orphan boys.
Brian, you should come to my... Oh wait, Brian's asleep. Maybe run Tash up and debug mode and see if you can get her to come to my position and we can show off like blood bags or something. I just feel like I'm boring people with running simulator, which is the game, but like we all have limited time. We all have lives, right? Even you, Soma, you have a life, right?
I don't... What do you mean?
Yeah. What is this life you speak of?
I don't understand. I'd say 50% of my stream is me running in the woods, but that gives me a good opportunity to talk to the chat, though, so that's good.
True.
That is the good thing about running simulator.
Well, now we've got... I think it's on slow mode, right? So now we can actually read building. So people keep asking about building. Definitely. Like, but we have to do it kind of in stages. So that's why first stage for us is being able to have persistent objects. Simple stuff like maybe planting and, well, actually that's not that simple. I guess a simple example would be tents. They're a good example. So that's a persistent object. And then we can sort of graduate slowly in more and more and more.
Can you go in depth, not super in depth, but can you talk about different diseases and medications and drugs people would need to apply to each other or their friends?
Sure, so I guess I'll talk at the moment about what we have now. So we have cholera, we have...
and what will these different diseases do to the character and affect them?
Cholera does what it does in real life, so it can kill within 2 hours if you don't have disinfectant. Tash, do you want to tell us about... Tash is a really good story. So obviously everybody's familiar with the action system. So when you have an item in hands, I'll just do this now. You know, you get the little action, so see there. So Tasha's friend, Charles, was it? Do you want to tell a story? Oh, she can't. She's not plugged in. Okay, I'll tell the story then. So Tash was telling me the stories about this guy, Charles, and the testing. He was running around trying to squirt people with disinfectant. So he was squirting them. But when they run away, the action defaulted back, and he ended up on the drink disinfectant animation. And he drank the disinfectant, and he started getting very sick. So they tried to feed him full of... He got really dehydrated, so they tried to give him lots of water. And did he die? Yeah, he died in the end. They tried, but...
Oh my god,
yeah.
that is awesome. That is so cool.
I love someone posted, what is this, Oregon Trail? Lol.
Yeah, they had roads back then.
So Brian was telling me he thinks the medical system's really come a long way and is working quite well. And
Very
I think that's right. I think it is. If I was unconscious, I could click respawn, but I'm not, so I can't. Standalone does not have syphilis. Syphilis is not in the game.
Good, so everyone can just kind of go ham then, not worry about anything.
My guy's getting really sick now because he's got no water, and he can't do a Bear Grylls and drink his own pee.
Oh, shame.
This might have
Whenever
a
you
small
actually-
amount of water in it.
When you do get tired and thirsty and whatnot, does your character start slowing down, and eventually it's like you're prone and like crawling, trying to survive, or how?
No, we haven't got that in yet. But that kind of stuff is stuff that we're looking at doing. Like again, that's the stamina stuff. That all has to be done engine side, and we've just got to be so careful when we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay, Brian is gonna use hexers. Do you have any water on you, Tash? You have loads of tablets. Well, that's not going to help. So the idea, I guess, to cover off on one thing is we want to have it so that you can put absolutely everything in hands. So you can see there's some stuff that you can't at the moment. Everything in hands and everything throwable. I'll put some duct tape in my hands. And at the moment, I'm left clicking and nothing happens. We do want to have it so that you can use everything as a melee object, which will be pretty cool.
That is so awesome. Wow, that looks cool.
Eat my duct tape. Oh, I'm not allowed to move, that's right. Brian wants to. The cool thing about these gloves is the gloves, that's not just a texture. That can be a whole new model applied. Maybe, Brian, you could give Tash a pistol holster as well.
That looks so cool.
The class name's chest holster. All one word. What is duct tape used for? So the purpose of duct tape is going to be for taping a flashlight to your Mosin, taping a flashlight to your SKS, yeah, stuff like that. Taping ducts. Can we stop little kids speaking to us in game? You can. It's like I could mute someone here. Could click mute if I wanted.
So in the mod you could find empty whiskey bottles. Can you find full whiskey bottles in the mod, and can you get drunk and have your character kind of
we do want to add that stuff. We just haven't got around to it. I was playing around. We want to add improve the post-process effects in the game a little bit before we do that. Like,
Right.
I'm sure you know, the post-process effects, some of them are quite old. So we want to... So one that we want to add is... I don't have a scope on, but so that, you know, we have the really cool-looking 3D scopes, and that's great, but we want to blur all around the edge of the scope, which is going to be very cool. So those are example. Once we do those kind of post-process effects, we can actually start doing something really cool with drunk post-process effects, drugs, like LSD, marijuana, stuff like that. I mean, this is all relevant. Well, it's all relevant stuff for the apocalypse, right? I think so.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So I've also removed...
LSD in the zombie apocalypse sounds like a nightmare. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this will go for Australia, because Australia has really weird gaming restrictions, but...
Yeah, they do.
It's a shame I can't show you this hunting scope, but the hunting scope, if I put that on a weapon now, because it's badly damaged, it will actually have cracked glass.
Oh wow, very cool. That is awesome. Decibel to 800 meters.
Need to move that back a little bit in the hand. But you see a lot of effort's being put into the items and stuff like that in the game. And that's why we've been taking our time with some of that stuff. You notice we've made it a lot faster now. When I originally showed it before, a lot of items you had to pull them out and that. I just don't think there was any benefit to that. I think that, I don't know what you think, but I kind of think that having it responsive is better than having it slow. For a lot of items.
Yeah, I completely agree. 100%.
So some
Yeah, that's
items
good. Yeah,
are
that's good.
calculated based on... so this is actually using the cursor target. Because some items aren't long enough for us to register their position. Whereas the baseball bat, the damage is calculated on where the bat connects. So if I... Hopefully this will work. So you can see the damage is actually being calculated where the bat hits, where the bat connects. And this is why everybody's saying, oh, it's just a pistol. It's not. It's completely different. So it's actually being hitting where the bat actually connects.
God, that must have been a pain in the ass to do. Did that take a long time?
I don't know anything about game development.
Well, it's more just figuring out how to do it on a basis that's not going to cause, you know, tremendous problems. That was really the big issue.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's cool.
What one big issue we have at the moment is, so you can get, we've got the animations for it, for, you know, smashing the butt into someone's face, so melee with the rifle. But how do we deal with that with controls? Because when you're using the baseball bat, you just push left, right, for melee or fists. That's great. It all makes sense. But what do we do with this rifle when you want to do it? Because when you push left mouse button, you know, you should be firing. But but yeah, you know, that doesn't work. So this is some of the examples that we've got to deal. Yeah, someone said middle mouse button there, but we really want to try and unify stuff as much as possible, and you know, it's not easy. It's really hard to, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. So we've got bayonets and stuff like that, which are really cool. So.
Everyone and their mother's going to be giving up their favorite hotkey. Oh, man.
We want to also allow some, like, you know, client-side type updates and stuff like that to see if we can... everyone sees that question. Yes, you can, but the items actually need to be configured for that. I love the alpha. I love some of the textures work that we've put on stuff. Like, just so much work has gone into some of this stuff, and I know it doesn't necessarily look like much, and because my dude is dying from thirst right now, you know, the colors are all desaturated, but I'm just Brian's suggesting I could log in and out and he could hack for me, but I'm just worried about getting this duplicating character bug again. It's just a pain. Is Tash coming in, is she? Oh yeah.
Can you find full maps, or are they fragments that you have to put together?
You can find full maps. You can find full maps. You can find tourist maps, which don't have stuff like that.
That's cool. That's awesome. No, that's not true, Lewis.
Hold on, I'm just trying to... what's the best way for me to message Shannon?
Oh, I see Shannon's question too. She has a question.
Yeah, she's on a mini vacation. She might not be able to come into
Teamspeak.
Teamspeak, yeah. Or maybe like Lyric, or if Sacriel's around. There's Sacriel there.
If they come into the Teamspeak, I'll drag them in.
You want to come into Teamspeak.
Just said Skype him, Skype her.
Yeah, I sent him a Skype message. If you hear this, Chris, I've sent you a Skype message, because he'll probably have a lot of questions. So we've been talking for ages and stuff. Because there's probably a lot in here that will bring up a lot of good, important questions. So I really like this, how you can turn stuff around. And so materials aren't even being applied here. Once we have materials in there, you'll be able to see it.
Oh, cool. I love that you can spin them on like that in the inventory. That's awesome.
Okay, I need to give him details. Let me do this. Is there a password for this, Soma?
I'm an admin in here, so I've never actually had to type in the password.
I don't know what it is, unfortunately. Let me message Tash.
I found it. I sent it to Chris.
Oh, cool.
If Lyric's there as well, we could get him, or anyone else. More the merrier. I have Lyric on Skype. I'll send him a message as well. And I will take questions. And I can't... Where's the chat? Oh, man. I don't know how you guys do this streaming stuff.
you get used to it. What's up, Sacriel?
Hello, Mr. Soma. Hello, Dean.
Hello. So I hope you have questions, because I'm kind of out.
Yeah, and my chat keeps breaking, and I mean, I've asked these questions so many times, and then my chat keeps breaking, so I can't think of any that I haven't asked a billion times. So if you have any.
Well, first of all, it looks awesome. I like that you've moved out of the village that you tend to be in for the other videos, and we're getting to see the wilderness. And like you say, when you look at the floor, the level of textures and...
Sorry. That's Brian's fault, everyone. Brian deleted, so he's hacking Tash at the moment, and he deleted her chest. So, so sorry, what was it you said, Chris? Before you were rudely interrupted.
No, it's okay. It wasn't a question. I was just saying it's interesting to see other areas of the map outside of that village that you tend to be in whenever we see footage like at shows and stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably in the most boring area though at the moment. I mean, we've been working so hard that I decided right when I got home, we were just like, okay, well we may as well just stream things and just see how it goes. And so we hadn't really put a lot of thought or planning into it. But luckily Brian's here now, so he's sort of helping us to plan and organise things. Unfortunately, he's having to use my laptop, and yeah. Oh, I nearly posted the TeamSpeak invite buddy in the Twitch chat. That would have been a little bit bad.
So we have an awesome question from Gears Art, the guy who made the picture, you know, the Dean picture that we had arranged. He says, will there be any bushcraft skills, for example, setting snares and traps to catch game, or finding different kind of berries and things in the wilderness?
Yeah, that's what we want to do with the gathering thing. Part of the problem we have is at the moment when players are a far enough distance away from the zombies go into sort of this migration mode where they don't move. What we want to do is have it so that the zombies are able to walk around, but they use a very simplified, like basically the server just moves them, you know, in a line. So it's very, very easy. Yeah, so once we do that, we can then start doing so the animals can walk around, and then they might be able to walk into your trap. Because the problem is, the animal would have to be close to a player before they'd be walking around and then walk into, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Did that answer the question, or did I just ramble?
Absolutely, no, yeah, absolutely. So you can foresee people being able to like scavenge things like wire and tape and bits and bobs from villages, and then actually craft some kind of snare and put it out in a forest somewhere, and then maybe check it out later on, because like it would add an interesting kind of pseudo RP element where if a bandit was out and about and they found the snare, they could actually set up a sniper overwatch or sit in a bush nearby with an assault rifle and wait for the guy to come back and check his snares. So it's kind of an interesting way of establishing whether someone has a base there. Might be a good way to drive a bit of interaction.
Yeah, well, I guess we could initially do it for players. I guess it doesn't have to be for, it doesn't just have to be for animals. And maybe even zombies, I guess. Yeah.
User joined your channel.
Do players and zombies, yeah. That'd be cool.
I mean, maybe in the kind of distant future, when there's all these kind of infections and such going around, you could maybe even infect your snare trap in some way, so that if a player does get snared and a snare digs into your flesh, you might be a way of infecting people that are approaching your base and making them have to retreat and try and find medical supplies. There's a lot of ways that could play into interesting meta interaction between players.
Yeah, so that's actually something. So the infection stuff actually happens now. So if I don't know, if I ate some of this or had some of these painkillers or something like that, these painkillers actually get because they've interacted with me. If I had a disease, there is a chance that could end up on those painkillers.
Oh, so if say you're stalking a player and you can, I don't know whether currently there's an animation for people coughing and spluttering or whatever to show that they're ill, but maybe if you shot a guy but you knew that before you shot him he was coughing and spluttering, you might think twice about drinking his water because it might be infected if he's interacted with it.
Absolutely. But then you might be like my character is now, really thirsty, and you've just got to try and make the call. So earlier on in the stream, you might have missed it, I showed that you can actually knock zombies in the head. And they go unconscious. Cool, yeah, so I was really pleased with that. And I think that also with the zombies as well, when they hit you, they have a chance to make you bleed, but they also have a chance to give you several types of different infections. If they've got an infection from a player, they have the chance of giving you the infection then.
Oh, cool.
And they can give you a generic kind of sort of infection, or they can even give you the virus that the zombies themselves have. However, it doesn't. Most people who get that virus die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will it have distinctly different symptoms so that you can actually appreciate immediately?
A little bit.
I have symptoms A, B, and C. I must have the virus.
It's mainly with that particular virus, it tends to last a lot longer, and the fever you get is more severe. So I think there'll be this real nervous moment when you're like, oh god,
like
do I have
Zomboid, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where the inspiration for that came.
Will there be some kind of cure, like a set of particular medical supplies across the map and a certain level of medical expertise needed? Because now we know that you're implementing some kind of medical skill system where if you have in your group a high-level medic with some decent supplies, he might be able to fix it? Or is it literally, if you get this disease over a certain amount of time, you will die?
We've already got about 6 different antibiotics in the game, and they're the real-life equivalents. So what we're planning on doing is having it so that, that you need to match the antibiotics to what you've got. And there are vaccines available as well that you find, and they'll give you immunity to whatever it is. And I think it's, I guess that's something I'm quite keen on. I know we talked about skill based, where it being if you do something a lot you get better at it, and that's where we're thinking of having it so that the first time you do, say, suturing, the first time you maybe suture someone's wound, you're not so good at it, and maybe there's a chance that you can cause infection and all these other different kinds of things like that. And the more you do it, the better you get. So that basically, if your character gets robbed, you're still going to want to play that character because of the progress you've made. Maybe he's fitter, he's survived a bunch of diseases and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Very cool.
Getting an influx of questions on Skype, actually. First one from Geek Stanton, who you've met several times at different events. He says, will scopes be usable separate from weapons? For example, if you find a 20 times sniper scope, could you actually just hold it up like a binoculars and use it to spot for another sniper?
Oh, that's a really good question.
We don't have that. Question, yeah.
We don't have that implemented yet, but it's a damn good idea.
That's cool. Yeah.
And that's the way the torch works. So it would make sense that we would do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean it's the same way binoculars work, right? It's just like a one-lens binocular.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome.
So Tash, I don't know if you're in yet. Wait, she's spawning in.
Okay, another question from Inception. Is there any impact on player mobility when carrying lots of gear? E.g., for example, Epoch's weight system, where different items have a kind of a pseudo value to say this is uncomfortable to hold, and therefore it weighs you down a certain amount. Or will you sprint at the same speed regardless of whether you have just a pistol or an entire backpack full of meat and whatever else?
So stamina is something that we've got to spend some proper time on, just because it's such a fundamental change to the engine that we really have to sit down, think about it properly, and redo it. So I think that the good time to bring that in will be when we bring in the weight system and all that kind of stuff, and we'll have it that basically your energy and stuff like that gets changed. The situation we've got here is that, and I know a lot of the people have been, if people who are listening have been developing with the mod, they know that that scripting isn't so good all the time because it doesn't scale well. And this is what we're doing. We're trying to move stuff from the script to being inside the engine so that it performs better. And stamina is an example of something that wholly exists inside the engine at the moment. And we just want to expand that so that it works better. But yeah, not until after the alpha.
Alright, actually guys, I have to actually run and do some errands. I had fun though, watching and talking. It looks seriously awesome. I can't wait to stream it. I'm stoked.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And it's just those last little issues we've got to clean up before we can get it out. And it's going to be messy and buggy as heck, but you know, we're excited about it.
Well, I'm excited too, man. I can't wait. Looks good. You guys have a grand day.
Thank you for your help, sir.
And you, sir?
Oh, no worries, no worries. You guys take it easy. See you later, chat. Bye.
See ya.
Have a good day.
So you see there that Chloe has just put her pistol inside the holster.
So the benefit for that, is that literally just that the pistol will no longer take up a slot of infantry inside the bag? There's no kind of benefit to being able to quick draw or anything like that?
We are looking at doing the quick draw. I probably think we'll do that at the same time we look at the stamina type stuff. It's just, also if you look, when she pulls the pistol out into her hands, you'll see that it glitches around, but the animation, we don't have an animation at the moment for pulling it out of your hands, so put a lot of effort into this pistol.
What pistol is that? I can't quite...
It's the FMP. And at the moment we have a silencer, we have a red dot sight which takes a battery, and we have a torch. Those are the attachments for it.
Wow, that model looks incredible.
Yeah, a lot of work has been put into a lot of these models. The model's shaking because it's another player's character, and their character will subtly change in a lot of ways, you know, based on network code and that. Yeah.
A really interesting question someone else asked. I didn't catch the name. Oh, actually, Steve Voice. Can you overdose on any medication? Like if you just take like 20 pills in a row?
Not at the moment, but an example I was given before is if you drink the wrong or eat the wrong kind of things, then you will get sick and possibly even die. like the example we gave was the disinfectant.
Are you planning on implementing any stealth takedowns? Like if you sneak up behind someone, you can mouse wheel down and choke or knock out or anything like that? Or is it going to be the actual melee system that you use to beat people?
We will have, I think, a proper melee system. But we haven't done too much with it yet.